Hi everyone, this is Jose from On Tour in the town called the Switzerland of Pennsylvania. The town that acts as a gateway into the Pocono Mountains and shares its name with an Olympic gold medalist. On this adventure, we'll go on a bike ride across the D&L, the Delaware and Lehigh Bike Path. We'll explore this Victorian town called one of Pennsylvania's best tourist attractions. And we'll take a train into the mountains to enjoy the beautiful scenery of the Lehigh Valley Gorge. So let's go on tour and enjoy a trip to Jim Thorpe. On this trip, we start at the D&L, the Delaware and Lehigh Bike Path, spanning across 5 counties, 3 regions, from Wilkes-Barre down to Philly. Over 140 miles of biking trail, and one of the stops on the D&L is Jim Thorpe, a small town in between the anthracite coal mines and Philadelphia. The Delaware and Lehigh Corridor, or better known as the D&L Trail, a path stemming from the anthracite region to the Lehigh Valley and Delaware Valley regions. The D&L Trail spans over 140 miles for a day of adventure and exquisite sightseeing while riding your bicycle. It gives you a taste of the beautiful Pennsylvania outdoors and the wonders hidden within the Pocono Mountains. Traversing the path leads you to sights of beautiful rivers, historic and forgotten venues, and racing against freight trains like the Reading and Northern.
Take it easy.
The D&L Trail was once a bustling transportation system for areas in these regions, and exploring the trail takes you to forgotten ruins, like this cave in the Glen Onoko portion of the trail, left unfinished with plans for expansion. I leave the bikes behind and take a walk into the cave, curious and intrigued to see what's inside, and all you see from a distance is darkness.
There's some light at the end of the tunnel, almost. It's pitch black in here. How did I wind up in a cave? This is pretty awesome. So it's in the middle of nowhere in Jim Thorpe on the D&L Trail. A cave that leads to the other side of the mountain. Let's go check it out. No, nothing. A couple water drips, but nothing else.
No bad snakes.
The D&L Trail is an integral excursion for Jim Thorpe, and the path was made famous by the canals. They were used to transport goods between the cities. It was the first means to make anthracite coal reach the masses, and now we enjoy this recreational bike route with a history filled of Pennsylvania's groundbreaking industries.
were just in that cave. All the wonders that are hiding in Pennsylvania. It was pitch black, and look at where it ends.
The pulse of Jim Thorpe, the Lehigh River, and along with the Lehigh Canal, it helped develop the corridor to transport these revolutionary goods all across the country. The Lehigh River, a river that flows with a strong current through Jim Thorpe. Many times you'll see the waters full of adventurers enjoying whitewater rafting. The river is a tributary of the Delaware River, where they merge in eastern Pennsylvania. The force of Lehigh River's strong current propelled early settlers to use it for the transportation of supplies and raw materials. It was the intersection of shipping numerous breakthroughs. So let's enjoy the moment as I throw rocks along the river and take in the rushing sounds of the water, reliving the lasting legacies of Pennsylvania's rivers. The borough of Jim Thorpe. It's a small town that's become a major tourist attraction in Pennsylvania. It has really unique shops, trendy eateries, and it's packed full of adventures. Let's explore the borough of Jim Thorpe, also called Mock Chunk, a borough sitting between the anthracite coal mines, Lehigh Valley, and Philadelphia. This small borough attracts thousands of visitors with all the fun adventures it has to offer. A true brochure guide of a Pocono gateway. Mock Chunk stands for Bear Place, as it's nestled in the shadow of Bear Mountain. Walking the streets gives you a grand experience of the unique mom and pop shops, delicious eateries, and colorful buildings that make up its scenery. This setting has come to be a touristic part of the borough's identity. Attractions like the Mock Chunk Opera House, which was originally used as a farmer's market and housed a theater on the second floor. The Opera House was one of the first vaudeville theaters in America. Now, it serves as a home for live theater and local productions. But one of Jim Thorpe's biggest storied attractions is the Molly Maguire executions, known as Black Thursday. The Molly Maguire were a secret Irish organization working within the coal mines. The organization had a history of crime that caught up with them, leading to their trial and eventual execution. This marked one of the largest mass executions by U.S. federal government. In the old jail museum, you can reimagine the conditions of their imprisonment. The legend of Jim Thorpe, the multi-talented, all-American, all-star athlete who left an imprint across several different sports. The man named Jim Thorpe has a history full of highs and lows, which is best captured in books and novels. His sportsmanship and uncanny athleticism inspired the town's name, when East Mock Chunk and Mock Chunk merged to form Jim Thorpe. The town's role during the Great Age of Industrialization started as a shipping center for anthracite coal. It was an ideal location resting between larger cities and the coal mines, making it an easy shipping port for the early coal companies. But the railroads brought a new advantage to the town, the Lehigh Valley Railroad. It made it easier to transport goods and reduce travel time to cities like Philadelphia. The trains would later expand into passenger trains, building excursions to the states of New York and New Jersey. At the top of its mountain, we take in the grand view of the Poconos and notice the mansions lined up on the hill. The mansions belonging to the Packers, Asa Packer in particular. Packer was one of the early pioneers of the railroads in Pennsylvania, becoming a major stakeholder in numerous railroad companies like the Delaware, Lehigh, Schuylkill, and Susquehanna railroads. In 1853, he merged these railroads to create the Lehigh Valley Railroad. This opened the path to transport from Jim Thorpe to Easton. It further extended the rail lines to the Wyoming Valley and the Susquehanna Valley in Harrisburg. The Susquehanna Valley connects straight to New York. Packer made it possible to exchange Pennsylvania's materials with neighboring states. In these beautiful mansions, you fall in love with the design and the interesting ways they created sheds within the land. And from this peak, you can see the whole town. Jim Thorpe's architecture makes it stand out as you drive past the town. The buildings display vibrant colors that bring them into life. The culture of the town is filled with musicians, painters, filmmakers, photographers, designers, and writers, becoming a hotbed for art.
So Jim Thorpe, the Switzerland of Pennsylvania. All the colorful architecture. I mean, now I see the comparison.
As the day winds down, it's time to grab some dinner. And Jim Thorpe has tons of great restaurants and a couple of vineyards. But we're just gonna go right outside of Jim Thorpe into Saylorsburg to the Blue Ridge Winery to enjoy a venue just like their great brochure, A Summer in the Mountains. To break away from the adventure, we explore the adult settings in the Poconos. Jim Thorpe and the rest of the Poconos are filled with wineries, and one of the more popular wineries is Blue Ridge in Saylorsburg, a couple of miles outside of Jim Thorpe. The atmosphere is engaging, while everyone enjoys a glass of wine and live music. A fantastic place to get away and enjoy great company. What I love about wineries is taking a walk through the field full of grapes to enjoy a conversation and the serene peace of nature. And this venue has truly amazing foods, those that catch my eye, like my favorite dish, pizza.
Where's my adventure going? How am I in the corn maze? How did this happen? Where am I?
The owners of the winery were inspired by the vineyards of the West Coast, bringing that California feel to the Poconos. A nice change of pace after a long day of bike riding and touring Jim Thorpe. And making our dinner more exciting, we drive a couple of miles to Beltsville State Park to wind down a bit and just enjoy the beauty of nature.
What a perfect date. A perfect venue for an exciting afternoon. Now let's get back to the tour. On this train ride, we take a scenic trip into the mountains, the Lehigh Valley Gorge.
Our Jim Thorpe tour couldn't be complete without a train ride through the Lehigh Valley Gorge. The Lehigh Valley Gorge Scenic Railway dates back to 1985, when Blue Mountain and Reading Railroad began running passenger excursions throughout the state. As they acquired more track lines, their operations grew larger, leading to the birth of the Scenic Railway in Jim Thorpe.
The Lehigh Valley Railroad. It established a connection between Mauch Chunk and Easton, and even further, it also created a path from New York City all the way to Buffalo. This train ride is a collaboration between Reading and the Lehigh Valley Railroad, a beautiful scenic trip all through the mountains into the Lehigh Valley Gorge.
This train ride is a fantastic adventure into the mountains. As I peek through my window, I look back at the start of our adventure, watching the train pass the D&L Trail. It gets me excited to revisit the trail from a different perspective. And I enjoy watching the cyclists, runners, and walkers fill the trail, similar to the beginning of our trip only a couple of hours ago. If you told me the borough of Jim Thorpe packs so many activities, I wouldn't believe you. Because when you drive past this small town, going from the coal mines to Lehigh or Philadelphia, you only get a small glimpse of the colorful architecture. But it's the multiple layers of adventures found in Jim Thorpe's Visitor Center, and all the brochures that display the reasons why the town gets so many visitors. And in our short time, I can only give you a sample of why it's a hidden gem in the Poconos. Pocono Mountains, an adventure awaits, filled with tourism, excitement, a vibrant indie scene, and a history that only adds to Pennsylvania's riveting story. Jim Thorpe has some of the very best that Commonwealth has to offer while maintaining its own identity. This is Jose for On Tour. If you like what you've seen today, please subscribe, give it a thumbs up, and share. If you want to know more about the places I've been to, please see the links below. Until next time. Wait, I didn't know the train was leaving. Thank you. It's a good time. It's a good time.